the Ketanji Brown Jackson hearing got interesting yesterday. I want to play you a clip, and it's a little bit longer of a clip than you have previously heard, because I want to make sure you have all the context, and it's still not great. This is an exchange between Ketanji Brown Jackson, who is Joe Biden's nominee for the Supreme Court, and Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in
Okay.
this context.
So you
I'm not a
believe the
biologist.
meaning of the word woman is so unclear and controversial that you can't give me a definition?
Senator, in my work as a judge, what I do is I address disputes. If there's a dispute about a definition, people make arguments, and I look at the
All right.
law and I decide. So I'm not.
The fact that you can't give me a straight answer about something as fundamental as what a woman is underscores the dangers of the kind of progressive education that we are hearing about.
How can you not say what a woman is? So there's an article in National Review. Dan McLaughlin, if you follow Baseball Crank on Twitter, Dan McLaughlin, good friend of mine, great guy. Antonin Scalia may not have lived to reach the promised land, but he won the argument. That is the clear takeaway from the first round of questioning of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson in her Supreme Court confirmation hearing Tuesday before the Senate Judiciary Committee. Scalia did not invent constitutional originalism. Edwin Meese and Robert Bork both played important roles in advancing the concept in public, and numerous other scholars worked the vineyards of academia and the judiciary to make the idea intellectually respectable and rigorous. Others, such as Clarence Thomas and Amy Coney Barrett, have carried the flame of its arguments forward on the Supreme Court since Scalia's death, sometimes, in the case of Thomas, with more astringency than Scalia himself. But Scalia was its most prominent, insistent, and eloquent exponent from the mid-'80s until his death in 2016. He was originalism's prophet. No one was more identified with the argument than Scalia, who advanced it relentlessly in constitutional law and equally insistently under the label of textualism in approaching statutory law. We're all textualists now, quipped Justice Elena Kagan in 2015. Scalia's argument was exceptionally American and grounded in the legitimacy of law in a democracy. The United States of America was the first country in the history of the world to have a written national constitution ratified by its people and binding on the government. We were the first nation to have a rule book. It is at the core of what makes us an exceptional nation. George Washington himself warned in his farewell address. The basis of our political systems is the right of the people to make and to alter their constitutions of government. But the Constitution, which at any time exists, till changed by an explicit and authentic act of the whole people, is sacredly obligatory upon all. Towards the preservation of your government, it is requisite that you resist with care the spirit of innovation upon its principles. Alexander Hamilton wrote in Federalist Number 78 that an independent judiciary's purpose was to enforce, quote, inflexible and uniform adherence to the rights of the Constitution, because until the people have, by some solemn and authoritative act, annulled or changed the established form, it is binding upon themselves collectively as well as individually, and no presumption or even knowledge of its sentiments can warrant their representatives in a departure from it prior to such act. Ketanji Brown Jackson doesn't want to be labeled an originalist, but she has repeatedly said, when you look at the law, you got to see what the people who wrote it intended. But how can she, when she thinks you need a biologist to tell you what a woman is? You know, what are the worst aspects of progressivism? It is now pervasive in American society that you as a person, if you are not an expert, cannot inform yourself, draw down information, and make an informed opinion. No, you must rely on the experts. We must outsource everything to the experts. you will notice I do not have a regular habit of bringing experts onto this program to give you information. I do that intentionally. This is my conversation with you, and you can call in and we can chat about things. This is not my conversation with someone else that you can eavesdrop on. But more importantly, it's to try to convey to you that I can gather information from experts and relay it to you in relatable ways that oftentimes experts can't, so that you can relate to other people. You can form your own opinions about things. You don't need me to tell you what to think, but I'll certainly give you all the information so you can think for yourself. The idea that we've got to outsource the term woman to biologists. Why not theologians? Because Genesis 1 existed before modern biology. God made man male and female. Should we not get a Jewish or Christian or Muslim theologian to come in and tell us what it means by male and female? Because those terms existed well before modern law and theory. They existed in terms of theological definition. But now we outsource to the biologist. What's the biologist going to tell us? Biologist is going to tell us in terms of XY chromosomes. If you have an XX, you're female. If you're XY, you're male. But the gender theories people say that's not true. It's all about your feeling and your desire. So maybe Ketanji Brown Jackson is signaling that she's against trans rights. Huh? Have you thought about that? She wants to rely on a biologist. She doesn't want to rely on a women and gender studies theorist. But it's simply absurd that a woman who wants to be on the Supreme Court thinks you've got to outsource to a biologist to tell you what a woman is. It really was one of the more bizarre exchanges. And frankly, Republicans should have this up on ads in every swing state in the country, in Georgia, in Arizona, in Nevada, in New Hampshire. Everyone should see that Joe Biden has nominated a woman to the Supreme Court who doesn't know what a woman is and can't tell you what a woman is. She thinks you have to have a biologist to tell you what a woman is. All Marsha Blackburn asked was, can you define what a woman is? And she says no.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition? No,
Yeah.
I can't.
Wow. She can't provide a definition. Oh, but it gets better than that. She also had the exchange with Josh Hawley. Now, you will note that in the run-up to Josh Hawley's ability to question Ketanji Brown Jackson, he signaled the direction of his attacks. And the media rushed out to say that this was defamatory, it was out of context, it was wrong for him to do, and her position is a totally normal position for everybody. You had Jeffrey Toobin, a man who knocked up his girlfriend, refused to pay for the child, told her he would only pay for the abortion, and then ignored her pleas, and then decided to self-pleasure himself on video in front of his colleagues, and still has a job at CNN, is the one who tried to tell us that actually, you know, we're too hard on child pornographers. That was his argument yesterday on television. My gosh, how quickly the world has fallen. So before Josh Hawley could even question Ketanji Brown Jackson, Eli Mistel, the not very bright constitutional scholar on MSNBC, said this.
But I don't want to let the Josh Hawley thing lie, because here's where I need the Democrats to step up. Because when they try to smear her, I need the Democrats to get up there and defend her just as vociferously as Lindsey Graham defended alleged attempted rapist Brett Kavanaugh. Like, I need that level of energy from the Democrats, especially when they come at her with this trumped up alleged issues about her sentencing on for sex offenders. Because what Josh Hawley is doing, let's be very clear. What Josh Hawley is doing when he tries to do this is he's trying to get her killed.
Yes, there's no hyperbole there. Josh Hawley is trying to get her killed. Really. That's what that is the wisdom from Eli Mistel on MSNBC. Here's the actual questioning from Josh Hawley yesterday. After Eli Mistel said Josh Hawley's trying to get her killed, this is the line of questioning. It turns out that Ketanji Brown Jackson went light on a child predator and apologized to him and his family for her sentencing.
Well, let's keep talking about this case. You also said to this individual who is an adult, tried as an adult, 18 years old, you also said to him, besides saying that you thought his victims were his peers, you also said there's no reason to think that you are a pedophile. And then you went on to say, again, that's another reason why you weren't going to give him, you're only going to give him 3 months because you would have judged that he wasn't a pedophile. And then you said, and this is something I really need your help understanding, then you apologized to him. And I just have to tell you, I can't quite figure this out. You said to him, this is a truly difficult situation. I appreciate that your family's in the audience. I feel so sorry for them and for you and for the anguish this has caused all of you. I feel terrible about the collateral consequences of this conviction. And then you go on to say, sex offenders are truly shunned in our society. I'm just trying to figure out, Judge, is he the victim here or are the victims the victims? You're saying that you're apologizing to him. You're saying you're sorry for the anguish this has caused him. There was a victim impact statement in this case. It didn't get read into the record, but it was there. I've described the videos that we have. You say earlier in the case, you talk about how heinous these crimes are, and you describe them to your credit. You describe how heinous it is to your credit, and yet here you are giving him 3 months and apologizing to him and saying you feel sorry for the anguish it's caused him, and also saying you think that sex offenders are truly shunned in our society. So just talk about that. Help me understand. I mean, is he a victim? Is that your view here? Is that why you said this? Is that what you meant by it?
Senator, I again don't have the entire record. I remember in that particular case, I considered it to be unusual, in part for the reasons that I described.
It was an 18-year-old. That was her problem. It's an 18-year-old involved. And under sentencing guidelines, and by the way, Ketanji Brown Jackson had been on the U.S. Sentencing Commission before becoming a federal judge. She sentenced him to prison, and she apologized to him. She would not read the victim impact statement into the record, nor would she put it there. But to the 18-year-old predator, she apologized to him and his family that he was going to have to go to jail and be stuck with this stigma of being a child predator for being a child predator. And the analysis, the esteemed analysis from MSNBC is, well, I guess Josh Hawley just wants to get her killed. Maybe he wants to show that she and a lot of the left these days are really light on child predator crimes. I mean, my gosh, right now, the Disney employees, after an arrest of a bunch of Disney employees for child human trafficking, bunch of Disney employees are walking off the job, not because they were surrounded by human traffickers at work, but because they think that kindergartners should have to learn about anal sex. And they're upset that Florida is going to pass a law saying, no, don't teach about any sort of sex in kindergarten. They're upset about that. My gosh, deviant seeks to silence normalcy. It's just unbelievable. Here we are that she can't answer what a woman is. She's apologizing to a child predator. She's got to send him to prison. This is why I'm playing the longer clips here. I could give you the nutshell clips here, but I don't want you to think I'm taking any of this out of context. I wanted you to hear it all. You've heard it for yourself. This is who Joe Biden wants at the Supreme Court. And you know what? She's going to get nominated. She's going to get confirmed. This is why the Republicans should be making this painful for the Democrats. Run ads in Arizona, where Mark Kelly's up. Georgia, where Raphael Warnock is up. New Hampshire, where what's her name is up, and then in Nevada, where the Democrat out there is well underwater compared to Adam Laxalt. Run ads and point out that Joe Biden is nominating someone for the Supreme Court who is a woman who can't tell you what a woman is.